I don't know what I hoped for. Getting there, maybe. Getting there. I'd still really, it's I suppose sort of elevating yourself in the art world and having the people who really know about art, saying that you are doing good work. That's probably where I'm trying to get to.
Welcome to a new journey. I'm your host, Matt Griffith, and with me today is renowned local artist Nat Ward. Nat, hello.
Hi.
Terrific to talk to you. I can't wait to discuss some of the things. I have had the pleasure of chatting to you on the radio, but that only went for about 5 minutes. So yes. I'm glad we got some more time today. Now, first off, we always ask about your connection and background to the local area. Now, having spent a little time chatting with you, I can obviously pick up a New Zealand lilt to your accent. So
yes.
You were born in New Zealand?
Yes, I grew up in a little town south of Auckland called Waiuku, just a little dairy farming town. Sent off to boarding school in Auckland. Went to university in Christchurch, did a fine arts degree down there.
Yeah.
And then we sort of spent a bit of time in Auckland, then decided to move to Australia in 2006.
So when you say we?
Oh, husband and 2 children.
Okay, so
yes,
you made quite a life for yourself there. And how old were you when we decided to move?
40.
Right.
Yes, so 2006. Went to Sydney for the husband's work.
Yeah.
And spent 5 years there, which was lovely. But then we're not really big city fans, so we had the opportunity to go wherever in Australia, and without sort of the constraints of having to go where family are or work or whatever. And someone suggested Albury, so we came for a little look down here and decided that it looked pretty good. So within a couple of weeks...
So it wasn't a work thing that took you from New Zealand. You just wanted a change of scenery, did you? Or
from New Zealand to Australia?
Yeah.
It sort of was work, but, it's a lot of Kiwis leave New Zealand and come here, as you probably know. So we were just one of many coming across. But it worked out well for my husband's work anyway. So
do you miss New Zealand?
Yeah, no.
You don't?
No, not at all. No, I don't. No, I don't even like going back, really, to be honest.
Really?
No.
So what is it about New Zealand that kind of where you have that disconnect now? What is it about the place?
Good question. The weather's terrible, mainly.
So you were never going to go to Tasmania then, obviously. You never thought about going to Tassie because it's very similar there.
It is.
Yeah.
Look, it's good. No, I shouldn't be too mean about New Zealand because it's got some really good things about it. But I think just here, the quality of life is a lot better. Just generally, the cost of living, I don't know, culturally, we're quite similar, obviously, but we really love it here.
It's just fascinating. Sorry to interject, but I have a fair few New Zealand friends, and a lot of them actually work in motorsport. Brad Jones Racing is a V8 supercar team here, and they've always employed quite a few New Zealanders, and they're always so proud of New Zealand, and you do hear a lot of that from people that come to Australia. They're almost that the pride for the home country grows and grows, almost that rose tinted glasses thing of going.
Okay.
But you're really strong in the fact that
I don't have that. No. Neither me or my husband do. No.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously, it's beautiful there, isn't it? That's all.
But there's more to life than that. It's beautiful here.
We are going to get off New Zealand now, then, and we're not going to go back to New Zealand during this chat. Okay, so you grew up there. You did your schooling there, and you did uni there. Were you thinking of Australia from when you were younger? I mean, was it just inevitable almost that you were going to end up in Australia?
Everybody in New Zealand thinks of Australia, and there's sort of like, I guess, most people come across it at some point. I did come over and spent 6 months here just doing a bit of work when I was in my early 20s. So, it's not a it's not a huge decision to have a crack over here, and
Yeah.
So yeah, it's always in the back of people's minds, I think.
All right, let's talk about your art journey.
Okay.
I imagine that you were artistic from very early on.
Yeah. I kind of knew I was reasonably good at it when I was about 5.
So did painting, drawing, all of that stuff?
All of the above.
Yeah. What did you used to paint and draw when you were little?
When I was a little guy, oh gosh, I can't really remember. Just anything.
Because you do a lot of beautiful landscape work and
Thank you.
paint the natural flora and fauna. So I mean, was that something that you were doing when you were younger?
No, not necessarily. I think it was just about doing what I knew I could do, and it could have been anything back in the day. People, I can't really remember. Sort of going through school, we were given projects, so you sometimes had to draw what you were potentially given to draw. So, and art school was pretty much like that too. Sometimes you do life drawing or, yeah.
But you always knew that you wanted to have a career in art and painting.
Yeah. So I did do sort of about 10, 15 years of quite commercial art, which wasn't very fulfilling at all. In fact, it was really boring. But it was.
So what kind of art are we talking about?
Oh, I used to draw houses for real estate agents and turn plans, like architectural plans, into 3D sort of artist impressions.
Yeah.
So it was really kind of technical.
Is that all done on computer
Now
nowadays?
it is, yeah. But when I was doing it, it was all by hand. So happily, computers took over that job for me, and I could actually go back and just go back to actually real fine art, like just painting.
Yeah.
In oils on canvas, what I want to paint.
It's interesting because you don't really think of art as in painting linked to commerce or just kind of drudgery. Well, off the top of my head, that's one that I kind of knew existed, but also like in court when they paint.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought of doing
No, thank you very much.
when they paint the accused?
No, I know. Who
or
does
draw
that?
the accused.
I mean, they
it's
probably love
fascinating.
doing that, and they're really clever with it. But no, it's not for me, thanks.
Yeah. So when did you gravitate towards the kind of art that you're doing now?
Oh, well, that would at art school. That's what we were sort of taught, like to go out. But it's really tough. It's a really tough gig, to just suddenly go out and be an artist and make a living out of it. And even if you're sort of semi-established, which I sort of hope I'm getting there, and people get to know you, it's just such it's such an up and down ride because, your income and selling work is, you just never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So coming straight out of somewhere like art school, a lot of students or, graduates will end up going into teaching because obviously, they'll make an income out of that. But just to be an artist straight away, it's, unless you've got support, really, really tough. So, yeah.
Yeah, it must be very difficult. I mean, are a lot of artists making enough money to have a reasonable income?
Are they? I think there was a survey that came out and it's pretty grim. Not many in Australia. I can't remember the actual numbers, but it's not great. They're not well supported in comparison to countries like France. I think you've got to get known out. Get out there, get the good galleries and all of that. You got to work your way through and. It's a bit of a minefield, actually.
Yeah, I can imagine. Have you been working consistently through the years, or has it been going in kind of fits and bursts and periods where you haven't been doing much and then other periods where you do a lot?
No, really consistently. Like I'm very committed to what I do. So, and I work hard. Like I'm in the studio every day. I've got a really good studio at home. And it's my passion, it's my job. So I guess after the kids were a bit older, that obviously put a little bit of a hold on things. It was a bit, but since then, I'm lucky because I've got the time, the flexibility to really give it a good nudge. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you always had a home studio? Is that how it works? I mean, do most artists have their own home studios?
I think they probably do because, again, it's an extra expense if you don't. If you've got to go out and pay for another space, unless you've got constraints at home of where to put the studio. But I really like it because it gives me flexibility.
Yes, yeah. Now, in terms of the subject matter, how would you describe your own body of work?
So I spend a lot of time up on nail can and swimming in the river, walking around the river. So it's pretty much based on what I've seen around. So at the moment, and I take photos. I take lots of photos, like if I'm walking up on nail can, just little things, and not necessarily the obvious landscape. So I'll look at, maybe interesting little bits of scrub or funny little flowers, or just sort of sometimes the innocuous things at the moment are interesting to me. And then of course I did the Noreuil project, so that sort of pushed my subject matter a bit because that was completely out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
It was back to drawing buildings again and a flat landscape that was completely different to anything we've got here.
I want to talk about that now, and it's interesting you mentioned that. So I was going through the catalogue of some of the paintings that you did over in France, and I was looking at one of the buildings and just looking at the intricacy of the bricks and just going, that must have just taken ages. I've not got the patience to do that. Yeah, so let's talk about your connection with France and Noreuil Park. So take me back to how it all started and what the outcome has been.
So I guess I was just really curious about the name, and I'm a mad francophone. So realised that it was a French word, Noreuil. And then started to, and there's a little plaque at the park. It's tiny though, and it just gives you a little bit of background about it, about why it was named Noreuil, which was basically because the Australian soldiers in the First World War won a significant battle against the Germans there, and when they came back from the war, they were given the park. They built the park as part of like reparation. And the government gave them money to do that. And then the mayor asked the soldiers, what would you like to name the park, which was quite special because a lot of the parks at the time were called Victory or Anzac or, quite generic sort of names. So these soldiers said we would like to call it after this battle, which we felt was, really significant for us. And so there we are. We have it as Noreuil, and it's interesting because it's not pronounced like that at all.
What is the pronunciation again?
So the pronunciation is Noreuil.
Noreuil.
Yeah, it's really tricky.
Yes.
And that was noted. I've got a little extract from the Border Mail, a letter to the editor. Some person back in 1920 or something said, brilliant that the soldiers want to call it this name, but boy, everyone's going to have a real problem pronouncing it.
Yes, yeah.
So even back then, they were like,
Imagine the discussions back then. For me, it's obviously we've anglicised the pronunciation, and we're all pretty comfortable saying Noreuil, but the spelling still gets me every single time. I just have to double check.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think I've written it so many times now. I've nailed it.
EUI.
EUI.
Okay, so that's the intrigue over the name of the park. But again, take me back to the what happened that then led to you going over to France.
Yes, so I thought, well, this might be a good project to hopefully get an exhibition at Mama, our local art museum. So I put it to them. Well, there's an open call for local artists, so I submitted for that, and I got it, which was great. And so then the next step in the process was to go to France and go to the little town. And we contacted it's a tiny town. There's only 132 people there.
Oh, right.
It's
tiny.
Really,
yes.
Really small. So we contacted the mayor, whose name is Sylvie, and they said, yes, please come and visit us. That would be amazing. So off we went. It was in April last year. So it was literally at the same time that the soldiers had fought there, the same time of the year.
Yes.
Which was interesting because the weather was, it was freezing. It was quite challenging. We did a lot of, aside from the day we spent with the mayor, which was extraordinary. We met the local landowner, and he showed us. He was really, really invested in the history, because they still so he grew endives. We went through his factory, and that was really interesting. And then he took us out on the fields, and he'd made a big sign up which explained the battle. And as we were walking around, he was saying, when they plough the fields still, they call them the fields of, or the harvests of steel or metal, and they're still turning up all these remnants from the war. And you literally, on our walks, you're literally walking along, and there's a grenade or a shell, or little bullet casings. So, and they're just everywhere, and often they will turn up human remains. It's
my goodness,
very extraordinary. So we learnt all that. We got a feel for the place. We went. The cemetery was there, which was very moving. We had lunch with the mayor, and that was they were so welcoming. And then basically, we also did lots of other walks around. We went, just other places to just walk the battlefields. And then I came back and just started painting that side of things.
Yeah. And the beautiful paintings. You also then paint, and this is part of the exhibition, is the contrast with Noreuil Park to Noreuil, and they're quite different paintings in a lot of sense. Like, they're quite structured, the paintings from France, and a lot of buildings and stuff, whereas the Noreuil ones is really just about kind of a wispy nature and a lot of gum tree. Stuff.
Exactly right. And I guess I was a little bit concerned about how to make the link between the two sets of paintings before I went, but then it became really obvious that the link would be the difference between them. Like you say, exactly that. They're really structured, formal, and I kind of had a feeling that the big trees, when I looked at all the photos I took, it was like the trees were sort of sentinels, sort of almost guarding the landscape. It was quite, in a way, it's a little bit spiritual.
You've definitely captured it as well, and I'm fairly ignorant when it comes to art, but you've absolutely captured the almost chaotic nature of the Aussie bush.
Yeah.
Stuff going on everywhere. And you've really captured that beautifully with the Noreuil
Thank you.
Paintings.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So how long did it take for you to complete all of the paintings for the exhibition?
It was probably it was over 18 months. Yeah.
Wow. How long for each? Do you dip in and out?
Yeah. People ask that all the time. How long for each painting? No idea.
Yeah, because you have a number on the go.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. How many? So for this exhibition, for example?
I did 40 paintings. They weren't all in the exhibition, but I did 40.
Yeah, yeah.
Some were really big, others were a bit smaller.
Yeah. Is that how most artists would work, or I mean, is it completely individual?
Completely individual.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have no idea what other people do. No.
That's extraordinary to have that. And did you just, go into the studio and just go, right, which one inspires me today or at this moment?
Nothing ever inspires me. I really hate that word. Sorry.
Do you? Why?
Yeah.
Why? Because there's nothing that's kind of driving you to...
No, it's just sort of a word that kind of means you need to be triggered by something, and I'm not. I'm not triggered to just do something, if that makes sense. Like, you need kind of a burst of something to make you work. But no, So I like to say rather that I am
interested. That's an art cliche, is it?
It is a very
saying. Do other artists hate that word? I've got to remember that for a writer.
I don't know.
Next time I talk to an artist.
No, I'm just, that's just me, I think.
Personal bugbear.
I'd rather say I'm curious or interested in things.
So you'd get into the studio, you'd have multiple paintings on the go. What would make you choose to go over to...
Oh, no, it's not even, it's boring. It's just which one's sort of dry and I need to work on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was expecting some arty explanation as to why.
No, sorry.
The mood took me and the moon was in a certain position in the sky.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I don't do.
Right, good. Excellent. So you finished the work. Are you always happy with your work? Are you the kind of person? Oh, okay.
No, definitely not.
A lot of people, I would imagine, are like this. It's the same with anyone.
Yeah. And I think it's a good thing, because if you were happy, you've got to be critical. You've got to be self-critical, really, all the time. And I look back on work I've done even maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I'm like, oh my God, I wish I could take it off that person's wall and just redo it.
Yeah.
And they go, oh no, but we really love it. And I'm like, ugh. But yeah, that's fine.
I'd
okay.
say to everybody, if you just wanted a quick glance, go to natwardartist.com and you'll see all the beautiful pieces of work there. That they are absolutely magnificent. What kind of feedback do you get from people?
I guess the best feedback you get is when they buy a painting. That's the best.
Yeah.
And then they just... Oh, and when they've had it in their house a while and they grow to love it.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It's sort of... That's really nice, because it becomes part of their world.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
do you
pretty
love
cool.
what you do?
Yes, I think I do. I think I'm really lucky, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, because again,
it's a burden though at the same time.
Well, that's what I was going to say. There is that art cliche, the tortured artist.
Yeah, I'm not that tortured, but I'm
cut off your own ear style artist.
Not really. I think I'm reasonable. I'm quite happy.
Yeah. Well, you're painting some beautiful things as well, and
yeah, I think just the tortured bit is just the being self-critical, and just trying to be better all the time, and that side of it, you can't let that go.
Yeah, has it worked out as you would have expected when you were deciding to make this your career? I mean, does it all work to your satisfaction and as you would have hoped?
I don't know what I hoped for. Getting there, maybe. Getting there. I'd still really... I mean, it's just I suppose getting... sort of elevating yourself in the art world and having the people who really know about art are sort of saying that you are doing good work. That's probably where I'm trying to get to.
Yeah. Is it a good career to balance with family?
Yeah, I guess so. But the flexibility, yeah, that's probably the best thing.
Did the kids inherit the artistic gene?
Yes, and it is quite a hereditary thing, I would say. My father was very, very good at drawing, and my daughter's good. I'm not really sure about my son.
Yeah. What do you consider to be your biggest achievement?
I have no idea. That's a hard question. Biggest achievement, I guess, being healthy and being able to live a really interesting, happy life here in Albury with lots of friends.
It doesn't sound to me like you look back a lot, do you?
Look back?
Yeah. Do you don't seem like you're...
Not really.
No. So would you say you live in the present or look towards the future more?
I think I'm in the present.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and in terms of your life here on the border, you said you could have chosen, anywhere in Australia. It certainly sounds to me like you don't regret the decision to move to Albury-Wodonga. No,
not at all. I mean, it's just perfect here, we think. It's just so accessible for everything to get around. I mean, the river's a big part of my life. What else? Just the group of friends I've got, the support. I think having lived in cities, you completely understand the difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
once you've really had a taste of what life can be like outside of the cities, it's hard to go back, I think.
It really is, yeah. And obviously we go down to Melbourne, and it's great. We're really lucky we can just pop down there and get a taste of the city, but
Yeah.
you just get back here and it's fabulous. I mean, we live out in West Albury and our house is on the park. So, last night a whole big bunch of kangaroos came bounding down right past our window, and there's always birds everywhere, and we're back onto Nail Can, and it's extraordinary.
Yeah.
4 minutes to the river.
Doesn't sound to me like you're what, the old phone's going? Someone ringing to buy a painting.
I will turn that off. Sorry.
It doesn't sound to me like you're going to be leaving anytime soon then, Nat.
No, we will not leave Albury. And my
At
son...
all. So that's it.
Yeah. My son's here. He loves it here. Daughter's in Melbourne. But no. Well, the only thing we would do is go to France more.
Yeah.
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 What do you love about France outside of... You said you were a Francophile. I've got a French car. Do you have a French car?
No.
Oh, my...
No. Oh, really? What
Yeah,
sort?
I bought a Renault.
Is it good?
Or you wouldn't say Renault, actually, would you? You'd say Renault.
Yeah, that'll
Something
do.
like that. Yeah, it is good. I love it? Yeah, I really like it. I had a Peugeot before when I was younger. What do you love about France?
The language is so. I love speaking French. I've been learning that for about 8 years, so that's just an amazing challenge, and it's really good for your brain. And it's meant we've met some very interesting people, and we just love going to France because it's so beautiful, and the history and the culture, and the people are great.
Yeah.
So I hope we're going back twice this year.
Oh, terrific. Will you always get some work out of it? Will you always, is the idea to...
I don't know how that's going to pan out. That would be quite good.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
I mean, you could go to other towns that where Australians fought in World War One. I'm sure that's been done a fair bit before.
I have no idea, but maybe this project, the Noreuil project, might sort of trigger some more things. We'll see.
Yeah. What are you working on now?
I've got there's an affordable art fair in Brisbane in May. So I just sort of hook up with a little gallery, like a little group of people. Maybe there's 4 of us. There's another local artist here from Albury, and we take our paintings up there. And it's huge. Apparently, I've not done it before. I'm quite excited. So,
that's terrific.
Yeah.
Look, before we go, we are running out of time. It's been a fabulous chat. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
What would you recommend to those who are out of towners who are coming to the border for the first time? Where would you say that they should go to get the full experience?
Okay, definitely. I'm just being pretty outdoorsy myself. The sculpture walk down at
beautiful
Horseshoe Lagoon.
Yes,
which
love
is just awesome. I spent a lot of time down there. Noreuil Park, obviously. Just again, it's next to the river. If you're a walker, Nail Can Hill, just to get up high, or Monument, just go up to the Monument to get a perspective of Albury.
Stunning, isn't it?
Those would be the 3 I'd go for.
Yeah, and finally, do you have any recommendations for us on something you're watching or reading or looking at?
Okay, so I did write this down. We watched Wrexham.
Wrexham?
Yeah, Wrexham. WRE.
Oh, I've got Jackson in the studio nodding his head, and I haven't even heard of it. Well, what's it about?
Oh, it's about Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhaney, who are like Hollywood stars, and they bought this.
Oh, the football club.
Yeah, the football club.
Oh, of course. Yes, Wrexham, as in WREXHAM.
Yeah,
right. I've got to watch it. I do have to watch it. Wow, it's good then, is it?
It's extraordinary. It's like a social experiment, but it's just so fascinating.
Yeah, because you've got the American culture and the Brits and
but they've literally changed a town through when I don't think they expected that. So it's brilliant. In the book, I did read Gina Chick, We Are the Stars, and she's the one who was on, was it Survivor? Alone, whatever. That was very interesting.
Oh, yeah, that was a good show too.
Yeah.
Nat Ward, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I would suggest everybody jump onto natwardartist.com for more info and to see some of the beautiful paintings that you do. Thank you so much for sharing your journey.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been awesome.